This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience.
David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family. The easy way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing this evening, or whenever you're listening to this, on episode 185 of the Auburn Experience Podcast. As always, I'm your co-host here, the sunshine pumping one at least, Mr. Kyle Loomis, and alongside me, the guy who's ready to have all of the students back in town as a Auburn resident, that co-host, Austin Scott. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much. Ready for it is ready or not. It has already happened. They are here. There have been some 18-year-old girls readily excited to find their forever home here for quite some time already. But they're officially here now, and it's good to have them back in their full force.
Can I be honest with you? I obviously am not a resident there. I guess I have a partial residence now, as I know. We need like a bell I can ding every time I mention my mom lives in Opelika now. But ding as another reference to another show we watch. So I will tell you, I warned her. I said, look, I hope you get everything that you need to do in town for the next 2 to 3 weeks done. When I say in town, Auburn proper. There's going to be some overflow into Opelika as well.
Correct.
You need to get it done now because they back. The students are back. It is on right now, buddy.
It is on. I would extend that word of caution to your mother to Tiger Town. Probably the best to avoid Target and Tiger Town for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. It has been taken over, as have any other super centers or grocery stores nearby. So, that's what comes with it. Our pastor in church this morning said, we pray for our college students every day, and we pray for ourselves with the traffic. And so that couldn't be more true. And, but they're here. It's good to have them. Truly. I say this, I think every year, but my wife and I are some of the crazy people who really don't mind them. It adds a lot to our little village on the plains when they're here. And so we're glad to have them here. It's a sweet time when they're gone. I'm not going to lie to you, but we're glad to have them back. It means fall is coming. It means football is coming. And it's just the opening to a brand new year.
I can see behind that very pleasant response you gave just a little bit of seethingness, like of the traffic issues and stuff like that. So you did a great job of being diplomatic. And the reality is this is why we do this, right? We're here because of the town, the university, and everything that comes along with it, the people. And a large part of that family is the Auburn student body, who, yes, there are some here during the summers, but boy, they are back. So this would be, Austin, the class of 2030. There we go. I got it. I was doing the math in my head real quick. So welcome to the class of 2030. And Austin, we sound so old when we do this every single year, but just, you're even younger than me. But thinking about how wild it was for me to think in 2011 that I would be graduating from Auburn. And now I'm sitting here 19 years later, removed. Well, I mean, that class graduation. Sorry, math is not my.
No, you're right. You would have started 19 years ago.
Well, actually, yes, I did, because I had a roundabout trip to Auburn. We'll talk about that another day. That's not what we're here for.
Yes.
The point of this segment, as I ramble around everywhere, is we want to welcome the class of 2030 officially to the Plains, and they are entering in a time with a lot of exciting things, sports, new buildings up, things like that. We always say welcome to construction. Don't mind the Auburn here, but I think they are entering at a time where it's truly going to look night and day different from when they first arrived to when hopefully the majority of them graduate. We want to keep that graduation rate up, I guess. That'd be a good thing.
It would be. And I think you're right. There's always a lot of changes that happen over 4 to 5 years when you're a student at Auburn. This class will see some bigger moments of just like more monumental, maybe drastic changes when you think of Jordan Hare North, when you think of different residency halls that have been built or will be built. And so, they're here. Tomorrow's the first day of classes. We were out on a walk before the show, and convocation was happening in the stadium. We might hear some fireworks on my feedback from around town, but first day of classes tomorrow. That means my work is louder and busier, but it's been a quiet summer without them. So, best of luck to freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior, victory lappers all the way around. Hope everybody has a great start to it.
Yeah, as a final note to that, I get asked this often by incoming students that visit our TikTok streams, and they'll ask, what's your advice as an Auburn student? And frankly, I think there's 1,000 different pieces of advice you could give.
Yes.
But if you're a freshman, my best advice to you is, as long as you've got your financial needs and academic needs taken care of, get involved as much stuff as you can. And I'm talking not just the obvious stuff of the football games, basketball games, the big three sport. I'm talking about go to all the sports. I'm talking about go to the club events. I'm talking about go to that lecture, go to that, voluntary service thing, get involved if you're, religious in a religious organization. But all these, you never know what relationship you might develop with a colleague, a future colleague, a peer, a professor that could help you down the road and helping you get your foot in the door in terms of a career and stuff. Like, I know it sounds cliche and simple to do, but just get involved. Like, that's what I would say, is make the most of your time. And it's not a regret, because I had to work almost full time while I was there to pay my way through college. But once it got loosened up a little bit with some of the financial strain there, I was able to I just went full bore and did everything. So that would be my biggest advice to people out there.
I could not agree more. I think that I look back at times, and I remember this so vividly. My freshman year, someone telling me, you think you were busy, and you're not. And just from freshman to junior year, that was very evident. I remember turning around and saying the same thing. Like, you think you're busy, but you're not. Like, you have the time. Of course, like you said, if there's not financial strains or things that you just have to do to stay in your Auburn experience. Now, looking back on that moment even more as a 30-year-old with twins, you think you're busy, and you have the time. So get involved. I do have slight regrets on just things where I thought I didn't have the time, and I did. I ended up joining a great organization where I met some of my best friends in the world, my groomsmen, and I wish I could have done it sooner. Just by realizing what kind of effect that would have on me. So get involved, take advantage. There's you mentioned the cliche, don't mind the Auburn. That Auburn will love you back, given how much you love it. So just do it, get involved, jump right in. You won't regret it.
Absolutely. Well said, sir. And I hope that now we've motivated the class of 2030.
That's right.
Not that being injured here, staying for convocation, fireworks, all that stuff couldn't do it.
Probably not.
That's what they really needed, was to hear from us this year. Housekeeping, if you are watching the live video portion of the show, or the replay, I guess, as well, you see there's a little bit of difference in the background. It's part of the reason we started a little late tonight. Kyle changed some things around in the office and still is in flux a little bit. So we're working through that. Hopefully this all sounds good, and we got the internet issues figured out. It wasn't Austin tonight. It was me. The other thing I know, right? Still time on the show. We want to give a real quick shout out again to Tiger Rags, who had their opening day in downtown. They're back there. A lot of you I know visited them, and so if you got some pictures or that you have of what you bought there and things like that, if you want to share it with us, we'll certainly give you a shout on our social medias. We just want to acknowledge them again for bringing back an Auburn staple for a new era, new flair, all that kind of stuff. And it looks like they had a pretty decent response on that opening weekend. And there was a line going downtown, it looked like, for what I saw.
line going downtown in like 98-degree heat. So a lot of people excited about it. And yeah, it looks like they had a great turnout, a lot of good. I think they were running like 50% off on just about anything except like this upcoming year shirts. So, and I think they said they're going to do it again next week. So a lot of good turnout, it looks like, and hopefully they continue to do well in downtown. And like we said, it's an Auburn staple people have come to love.
Absolutely. Glad to have him back, especially in downtown, because it just feels right. We talk about nostalgia, feeling old now that a new class is here on campus and all that. That brings us back at least a little bit to the heyday. Hey, heyday market. Just tying all the Auburn phrases in here. Just.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
All right. Plenty to talk about as always. We are going to have another interesting show where this may become, just like last week, an extended Auburn Potpourri segment where we have smaller topics that we need to make sure that we hit throughout the show, leading up to potentially 2 major topics. One of them definitely a first half preview for Auburn football 2026. We might be able to get to a special teams unit preview. We might be able to get to everything. Probably not. So let's not waste any more time, Austin, and jump right in, because we're going to start right here, sir, with something that you and I are like, what? I mean, I guess we need to go gamble or something. I'm not for that. I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying, like, apparently you and I, without any foreknowledge, can just predict things. Nate Bargatze is coming to Auburn to perform in Neville Arena. You can just thank us, folks. I think we're the ones that made that happen, is what I heard. I don't know.
I want to say, I think that we had some extra additions, but I want to say with Ella Langley and Nate Bargatze, I think we pretty much nailed it. Back when this Peachtree Entertainment deal came out, I think that was both of ours. I think we both said we expect that to happen at some time. Yep. I think you said that you would drop everything if possible. Now life has changed quite a bit since.
Yes, it has.
But I think that we would hit the nail on the head for this one, and my goodness, I think it's going to be absolutely successful. I think people are going to come out in droves. I hope, Kyle, that this is the one. Like, can we just make sure this is the Netflix special one? Like, let's make sure this is the next one we record and we all get to see. Can we put it on War Eagle Plus? I'll pay the $15 a month just to get to watch it.
That would be not a bad idea. A great pitch for if you can't go there, because the idea is you sell this out and sell out quickly so that you maybe bring him back. I don't know, but yes, if you could put that on War Eagle Plus, strike a deal with Nate to do that. But the details are as such that he will be on Friday, October 16th. It will be the same, the night before the Georgia game, but out in Athens. So, that makes sense. Listen, if you don't got football in town, let's get another big act going on here. The Nate Bargatze Big Dumb Eyes goes to college tour, which it just full clarity here, because I don't want people to act like we're claiming we're the first one for him to come to. I think he's going to like Starkville or Oxford or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
It's a college tour, so this made a lot of sense. To be honest, Austin, it's not like we had to work hard to predict that this was going to happen. I mean, he was only the hottest name in comedy when we were predicting this type of thing. He feels like a guy that is not above going to college campuses and doing this, even especially in a family-friendly, clean comedy type of guy. Yeah. I'll just be honest with you. I'm happy to see him here. I'm happy to see him taking in Auburn. And hopefully, like you said, this could be really special for him and him want to maybe come back. And I'm not going to say that we could probably pack out Jordan Hare for him, but if it went well the first time, we might be able to pack out like the lower bowl or something like that. I don't know.
Sure. I did see that he'll be doing, if you've seen most of his, I'm talking to our audience because I know you have, but if you've seen most of his acts, he does normally stand like it's like in the middle 360 circle setup, and they will be doing that in Neville Arena. So there's going to be plenty of seats. I haven't seen any seat updates from Rhett or any of those guys who usually give us updates on it, but I'm sure it's going to do really well. I love on a grander note, I love that they are, it'd be great for this to be the night before a home game, but I love that they are taking these opportunities. Like Zach Bryan is coming on the bye week. Nate Bargatze is coming on the night before the Georgia game. And Ella Langley is, the week before the season kicks off. I love that they are taking the opportunity to still add these weekends to gain some of that revenue for the city. It's long been said, especially in a town like Auburn, in a city like that, how it is, small businesses operate on kind of six weekends a year. The athletic department's doing their own part to kind of make sure that happens on a grander style with bringing in these acts that might not cover up a whole SEC football game, but you add a few of them on those off weekends and get people to Auburn when they normally wouldn't. And you never know what the bottom line can look like come at the end of the year.
Yeah, I just did a quick check for us as well. And we're, again, just for time frame reference for those watching this segment on the replay, this is on a Sunday late evening, plenty of seats still available. There has not been a time set for the start on Friday evening. I would imagine, actually, Jessica and I were discussing whether or not we can make this happen or not. We're working on it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we're working on it. And I think most of his events start about 7 p.m. local time. So it's going to be a little tight for those people that are coming out of town maybe, but if that's the time, we'll find out.
Sure.
I'm sure they'll be posting more of that as it gets closer. You still got 2 months exactly from today. Yes, to figure it out. But Nate Bargatze coming to Auburn. We called it. You're welcome, Auburn family, because that's what we do here. We figured it out. We tried our best to do this each week when we're in officially sports season, Austin. Like, it's here. Auburn soccer was the first one to get going, as they always are. They did have a couple of games this week. First off, they did take on, say it, Austin.
Clemson, yay.
And guess what the game ended in?
A draw.
The thing that you and I just love to talk about. They are currently right now in the middle of a match with Jacksonville State. Auburn is up 3-0 as far as I can tell. Maybe 5-0. Actually. 5. Yes, that's correct. So I think we can go ahead and call that one in the 70th plus minute. Oh, probably about the 80th minute now as we're recording this live. So I think we'll just call it this way, Austin. The first update that we can give you for Auburn sports, especially the fall sports, Auburn soccer is 1-0-1 on the year. I hate ties so much. Tying Clemson, beating Jacksonville State, and then volleyball had their first exhibition, first of 2 that are coming up, and the next one earlier in the week or later in the week. And fall sports is here, man. It's exciting times. We got sports back.
It's here. It's a good start for the ladies on both sports sets. We got the draw. You say that it's not fun, and it's not, but it's better than the loss. I know a lot of people would say that, but I still stick to that. It's better than the loss, and especially against a nationally ranked team in Clemson. I think they were top 20, maybe top 25. And so for them to come into town and you get to play them to a tie, it still works out pretty well for you to not have put a 1 in that loss column just yet. And then, smoking the in-state Jacksonville State. What are
Gamecocks.
They? Gamecocks. Thank you. I wanted to say chickens, which
smoking
is accurate.
Smoking the chicken. Is what they're doing. Smoked chicken, anybody? Is that what we're – I mean, listen, we beat up on old Jacksonville State in every sport last year. We're just starting early this year. Sorry.
Just starting early, letting them have it. I think they got us in baseball once, didn't they?
That's fair. That's
but they were
true.
good. That was a very good team. But no matter.
That was a premature celebration on my part for like a year of smoking them. But hey, listen, smoked chicken to start the year. That's all that matters.
We're looking to start the smoked chicken, and so it's a good year. Good start for 2 matches through at the Hoppa.
The Hoppa. Get to the Hoppa if you've not been there yet this year. Year 2 of the Coach Armstrong era, and volleyball right around the corner here officially for the start of their regular season too. Speaking of news for seasons upcoming for winter sports, we finally, just like the men, we now have the women's update for their SEC schedule for 2026. And this includes the dates as well, because we previously have talked about who they would be playing and where, just not the lineup of it. We knew that there were going to be some challenges in this one, as there always is playing the SEC, and this is year two for Coach Larry Vickers. But even though it's at home, Austin, let me just LSU to start off the year in SEC play, and that will be on New Year's Eve too. That's tough. That's a tough way to get going.
It's a tough way to get going. It's a tough first 3 to get going.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will start off the SEC slate this year in 2026 on New Year's Eve. I bet there'll be some fun promotional bits for that. It might be what day of the week is that? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, that feels like it would land on a Friday. I can probably make my computer work for me very
It is a Thursday.
Oh, I was close, Austin.
You were close.
It's
Christmas
close.
is Friday, so New Year's is Friday.
Yes.
So yeah, there'll be some fun promotions for that if I had to guess, and with students not back and whatnot. So we'll see how that goes. But it's always a good crowd. Auburn women's basketball obviously has not been to the level of an LSU, but every time LSU comes to town, especially when they won just a couple of years ago, it has been always a show to see Kim Mulkey and her Lady Tigers. So I have no doubt that bar it being New Year's Eve, there's going to be a good crowd there.
Right. But, listen, the whole season isn't just about LSU. I mean, even though that's a good way to start on New Year's Eve. It's tough, but it's an interesting one to start with. Very quickly, Kentucky away, Vanderbilt home, Georgia away, Florida away, Ole Miss and Texas A&M 2 in a row at home, then go to LSU. Thank you for that. Whoever in the SEC office had us play LSU twice. And
just appreciate that.
We appreciate that real well. And it's really like bookending the 2 halves of the SEC season, kind of. Home for Arkansas and Texas, so we at least get Texas at home. Alabama and Tennessee back-to-back on the road, and Alabama's going to be looking for revenge after what Coach Larry Vickers did to him in his first year there, getting that notch under his belt. Home versus Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, at South Carolina. That's going to be tough as well with Coach Staley. And then we'll finish up with Tigers in Missouri. So anything else stick out to you from that, Austin? Running through that very fast. Obviously, the headline thing is what we talked about with LSU.
Yeah. Is there no bye random off week this year?
It might not be, but let's admit it, Austin, that we have lamented about that in the past.
Well, and you play one team twice. It makes absolutely zero sense.
It's a very interesting little schedule. I am scanning very quickly, just as you did, and I see no bye week to be found, Austin. So I will take the victory where I can get, because you and I talked about it last show, how weird that was. We were waiting to do like a women's basketball update, but there was like 2 shows where we didn't have one because of this weird layout of everything. So
strange. And then they make you play one team twice. And oh, by the way, Auburn gets LSU, not their main rival. No, far be it from that.
Just not even
bizarre,
Georgia,
man. I just wonder. Every year we do this. And I'm like, what is happening up there in that office in Birmingham? Like, are we just like throwing it out the wind and letting the pigeons decide the schedule here?
The pigeons, huh? Are the pigeons notorious in Birmingham or something?
Yeah, absolutely. You should see them.
Well, pigeons are not. There's your schedule for 2026 SEC schedule. Auburn women's basketball. Good luck to Coach Vickers and what is always going to be a challenging year in the SEC.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
We'll continue on. One more quick note on women's basketball too, before just because we mentioned this, it's a small note, but I just want people to be aware of it. They are going to be having an exhibition game. I think it's Tulsa and actually, South Florida. It's not an exhibition. It is actually 2 regular season games. South Florida and Tulsa playing in the Cherokee Invitational. I'm assuming this is in Gatlinburg or close to it, Austin. It's up in the Smokies is what it says. Like that's what I read it as. If we're correct on that, whether it's in Gatlinburg or not, it just doesn't feel like your traditional basketball town for a matchup with South Florida and Tulsa, especially. Interesting little opportunity there for Coach Larry Vickers and the team.
It is. And if I'm looking at this right, it's actually Cherokee, North Carolina. So,
okay, North Carolina. Still, listen, same vicinity. Right?
Mountain area. Yep. That is, you're right on the line. You're not far. That it is very interesting and not something I feel like we've seen Auburn participate in a lot, but, some other good quality competition and maybe see where you're at before you get going into SEC play right there before Christmas.
Hey, listen, football season hopefully won't be over, but if it were, could we get Coach Golesh to go up there and visit his old team, and support the women up there in North Carolina?
I'm sure the Tampa local media would love that.
It would be a nice little storyline for them to be able to talk about, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens in December. That's another little small update for the season for you. This is a news story that hasn't broken officially that I'm aware of from Auburn. However, obviously there's stories abound about it. It was a couple weeks ago. We just haven't had time to talk about it. And it's more interesting than it is like you have to know this right now. Auburn has rescheduled reportedly its scheduled game in 2027 with Missouri State. Now, I, for one, Austin, was not super excited about this is our choice for a new group of 5 team as an option to play this year when that was first announced. So when I saw it got rescheduled, I was like, okay, hey, nice, fine, whatever. It wasn't really excited about it anyway. They got bumped to 2034, 7 years, right? Yeah, the math's correct on that one. I mean, I get the feeling this one may not happen at this rate, the way it's going, to be honest.
Yeah.
With you.
When I saw that, I thought, 2034, I think I might be busy that day. I think that's when I set my dentist appointment. It's a really weird feeling to go ahead and bump that far. I didn't look into it too much. The main story I saw was kind of behind a paywall. But I think that maybe it's a casualty of a game for this 9-conference schedule. Maybe it's one that Auburn's having to move some things around because of that. I don't know. We don't know reason. Like Kyle said, it's not an official word from Auburn yet. And I have not looked. I'm still trying to look at the 2026 schedule on how this is going to play out. So I've not looked into what other agreements are out there for next year, but it is weird. I feel like you don't see them bounced out that far.
Well, to be honest, it's all part of this positioning that everybody's doing in their scheduling right now with potential changes to require how you qualify for the playoffs and such like that. The SEC moving to 9 SEC games. And this is a changing landscape. And unfortunately for Missouri State, for them mainly, because Auburn fans probably weren't just over the moon about this one. They're a casualty of this, that they just get bumped back to this type of situation. And to be honest, I've said this a lot. I would much rather us play a regional team such as Jacksonville State, because we're not afraid to play the state teams like another one in state, or Georgia Southern, even like Mississippi Valley or whatever. That's what I mean. That's even, they won't probably want us to play those now, but you get my point here. Like the proper Southeast region, I think, is the teams that we should be playing of that type of style. But
what I'm hearing you say is that you are in agreement with me that we should kick Missouri out of the SEC.
Missouri State is not Missouri, but
we should not be playing Missouri State because they're not in the Southeast, so we should kick Missouri.
I didn't say we shouldn't. Conference. I said what my preference. It's my preference.
2 + 2 is equal 8 here. That's all I'm seeing.
If that's how you want it to equal 8, I will not argue on that. But you and I have obviously been on record here about our chagrins about Missouri. Here's a strange thing. I think they agree with us too. It's like, we're just trying to figure it out why we're here too. We had a fun time with y'all in the SEC football championship that one year, but outside of that, it's been kind of interesting for the most part. But there you go, a bump to 2034 for Missouri State. We still got time, I think, for plenty of these things, so let's keep rolling through them. A lot of these are news stories that we didn't get to last couple weeks because they were piling up on us. We have fall ball action, Austin, for baseball. Auburn and Florida State will once again meet in Pensacola, Florida. This is going to be Saturday, October 10th, and I have never been to this venue. I did see this the last time they did it, and I was like, that view looks incredible in that minor league field overlooking the waterway and the beach and stuff like that. Oh, he's got something to say here. Obviously makes sense converging Florida State and Auburn there. I mean, there's a lot to like about this. I'm happy. So I'll let you have the floor. It
seems to be like it's Auburn's annual fall ball opponent. It seems like this happens pretty frequently here. I think they did one in Jacksonville at the Jumbo Shrimp Stadium, and now Pensacola Blue Wahoos. I have been to this venue. We went earlier this year, maybe April, late April. As a side note here, I have an affinity. We were talking about something you used to collect. I have an affinity for minor league baseball T-shirts. And so the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, on our way to the beach with my in-laws, was on my list to get. We stopped by. They were great hosts, and we headed into the team shop for their pregame. That view is as incredible as it looks. It is right on the water. You can yank one in left field straight into the water. I guess right field if you really are feeling yourself. But it is pretty awesome and a great venue and a great spot in town. So I'm sure we have a good Auburn club down in Pensacola, Florida, that's going to be excited to watch this.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a great venue. Obviously a great opponent. I'm, for one, I'll be honest with you, Austin. We lament a little bit about how like Auburn and Clemson see each other in almost every sport. It feels like every year. It's kind of that way with Florida State too. But if we're doing men's basketball exhibition game with Florida State, we've got an obviously exhibition of sorts with fall ball, with baseball. Honestly, if we want to keep doing this, I think softball even did in Clearwater with Florida State too. Yeah. Like if we want to make this so that we can get that Auburn Florida State vibe across sports, let's just meet each other for the preseason. If we happen to see each other in the regular season, that's great. But we're kind of, there's a lot of connections between Florida State and Auburn with some coaches and previous, plays in 2013 championship game and all that. But I think I would, for one, would be willing to have us play Florida State as much as we can in the preseason. Because it makes sense. I think
it makes sense. Them and Clemson and Georgia Tech all kind of fit in that same mold for me as regional, local, and lots of ties outside of just recent history. So I'm all for it. And it seems like the Auburn administration at least seems to be this way with fall ball baseball.
Yeah. It's good to see them back on the schedule, at least in an exhibition format. And fall ball will be just around the corner for those of you that are going to get excited about that. I know I will. Some portal news, Austin, in basketball. Did you think we were done talking about recruiting and portal talk in basketball for this season, Austin?
Truthfully, yes, but then the NCAA does whatever. Well, the NCAA lawsuits abound wherever they can find. So
and judges abound.
Here they are. That's right.
Judges are running college sports right now. If you can find one that will make whatever you want happen, more power to you, but it just causes chaos for everybody else. So frame of reference here before you tell you the news. A judge basically ruled that a lot of a certain class would be eligible for a 5th year, and did it very late in all these processes. Like for Auburn, they just got done with their international trips. So our other team, whatever preseason practices that they were doing in the summer, the late summers, they've already wrapped up. The teams have been formed until this happened. And Coach Stephen Pearl did get asked, would you add anybody? He said, we're not going out of the way, but if it makes sense, if that ruling goes down the way it does, and it did, here we are, Auburn's new addition to the 2026-27 roster, Mr. Kolby King of Utah State. Now, when I try to place this for myself, Utah State obviously has been a decent basketball school from the mid-majors for a while now. So that kind of adds a little bit to this. I think there's some people out there like, well, what does this really mean for the team? It looks like it's already been pretty well established. Like, how's he going to work into that? Is this someone just seeking a good opportunity to be on, a blue blood now as we know it? So what do you make of Kolby King late into the roster right now? I know we're highly speculating at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's highly speculative, but I mean, definitely a transfer guard, a combo guard kind of feel. Looks like a shooter. I definitely don't think he's going to be a guy that's maybe on your starting rotation, but a guy that can come off the bench who's played a lot of college basketball. And obviously the Auburn coaches see something in him that they think can help this team compete. I think that there's some at the guard spot, especially there's some rotation question marks there that you can see where do they drop off a little bit in certain points when some guys need some break, and maybe Kolby King provides that drop off, not be quite as drastic. So we'll see. I hate it for Kolby. He missed the trip to Greece. That stinks. But at least he is I'm sure he's excited to be playing as part of a SEC Power, and we look forward to having him here soon. I don't think we're done with kind of seeing what all this looks like in college athletics and maybe even at Auburn. You mentioned Stephen Pearl was asked it. Coach Alex Golesh was asked the same thing, and if it makes sense, it makes sense. But a lot of stipulations still on all that you had to have been in the transfer portal before this was ruled, and you have to have an good standing and still be eligible. Yep. So it makes sense for only a few amount of guys, but Kolby King's one of them, and so we'll see how it affects Auburn basketball this upcoming year.
And as a quick clarification, now that you mention it, I think I mixed the two. It was Golesh that said that. I do believe that Stephen was asked about it. He's been asked about it, yeah. And so I think his answer was about the same, but I just want to clarify that in case that got a little bit misconstrued there. The point is this. Listen, you got to be open to whatever the NCAA is going to be doing at this point, because nobody can predict at this point. The point is, Kolby King's here. Welcome to the Auburn Tigers. Get ready, because it's a great basketball school, as we've come to know for a while now.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at Accenture.com/Spotify.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
I think we have about wrapped up what we can do here with this show, Austin. Yeah, we'll kind of park it there and make sure that we stay on point tonight. So we will move into our main topic one, which will be almost a little bit of a mini, just because it's not going to be as extensive as what we've been doing the last couple weeks with our preview of the Auburn 2026 football roster. We have done offense, we have done defense, so make sure you go check those clips out if you have not done so already in the previous two podcasts, this one being episode 185. We're going to do special teams now. This one's pretty cut and dry for the most part, Austin. We there's no battles here. I think the biggest storyline coming into this year was going to be, is Alex McPherson healthy? And to be honest, straight from his mouth, unless things have changed right now, all his battles with his gastrointestinal issue that wrecked his weight, his health overall, seem to be figured out at this point. And if you take what happened at A-Day with the ability to, hit a 60-yarder, or pretty much at least in his warm-ups and stuff, I think he's feeling pretty good. So how are we feeling, Austin, about having Alex McPherson back and looking like his old form?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think we have he miraculously has kind of exited his health issues. I actually got to go to an event this weekend and kind of hear from Coach Golesh and Alex, Byron Brown, and Champ Anthony, our SEC Media Days representatives. And straight from Alex's mouth on Saturday, he is still feeling good and really excited to get to play and contribute to this team this year. Coach Golesh mentioned it multiple times at the event, but statistically, he is still the number one kicker in a long line for Auburn in their history. And so obviously he hasn't had too many opportunities due to his unfortunate health issues, but I think he's going to have plenty of chances this year to add to those numbers, and he's going to be a real asset for Auburn. So he got a massive applause. I think everyone's very excited and rooting for him. Very inspired by his story, and just really going to be looking forward to seeing him contribute on the field just as much as he does as a leader off the field this year.
Yeah, so the other kickers in the room, if you're aware, Charlie Schwinger and Connor Gibbs will know that. And to be honest with you, kind of what site you look at, Connor is placed in the kickoff role, and that did happen over the last couple of years, where
several times.
A lot of that had to do with Alex trying to get his strength back and stuff, and certainly you got to have a lot of power. So you might see Connor still there. He's at least, capable of that type of situation. But Alex is your guy, and it's great. People forget that he was 100% in his opening campaign for Auburn. And you just wonder, if he had just taken off the year again last year, would we still be talking about a streak? And I'm thankful he got back out there. I'm thankful he got a chance to do it again. But that was such a cool thing. We didn't even want to talk about it. If you go back on the show, like Austin and I would just acknowledge, what's happening, right? Yeah, we know what's happening 100% before this. So kicker is pretty set right now. I would say punter is as well. Hudson Cack, as I will always say his name, because y'all aren't going to mess with me on that one.
I mean, if you want to be incorrect, that's fine.
That is fine. Listen, I'm just going to save myself an embarrassment, and I think Hudson would understand. But he is back after he transferred in from Oklahoma State several seasons ago. He's another one of these Aussie punters. He's a senior leading the way. You've also got John Allen McGuire, who's a local-ish type of recruit from Birmingham. Thompson High, and then Max Burke, who also is another one of these Aussie guys who will be a true freshman this year. So you kind of got a stagger step. So I guess the story here isn't really who's starting. That's Hudson. I think we can all agree on that one. But, do we stair step this and let John Allen kind of be the backup, take over after this year, and then let Max redshirt? And I don't know. What do you think about the punter room?
Yeah, like you said, established. I think that's going to be the key word in a lot of these areas we're going to talk about with special teams, because of the age and the experience. But After it, yeah, you've got two really talented guys, two very different kind of punters with John Allen McGuire from Thompson, and then Max Bork, who I think was straight from Australia, right? Like that's one that was later in the recruiting season because of his him being an international guy. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see if maybe each of them get an opportunity in some games Auburn's kind of put away, and see what kind of asset they might be. Look, punter's a lot like quarterback. There's really only one spot to go around, and you really don't need a couple of them until somebody gets hurt or until somebody's number is called upon. So we'll have to see how it goes. At the end of the day, all three of these guys, John Allen McGuire has been here a year longer than Max, but they've all been here and with Alex Golesh at the same amount of time. So we'll have to see how it all plays out.
We will, and obviously excited to have some continuity at those primary positions of special teams. Elsewhere, just some notes here. I'm sad that Reed Hughes isn't here anymore at long snapper. He was so entertaining in all of the social media stuff, and so we really need someone to fill those shoes. I don't care what position it is. I know that has nothing to do with on the field stuff, but
maybe he'll come back. Maybe he has a fifth year. Who knows?
You never know. That's a great point there. But I would imagine some of these guys, in those positions would be like, hey, let me have a shot. Hudson Powell, who came in from Miami, Ohio, who's a redshirt senior. I think he's going to obviously be the guy. Travis Wakefield, who was brought in with this last class as well. Those are some names for you to know. I think, though, just to kind of round out our special teams talk, and this is going to be more speculative, we won't know this until we get a depth chart officially. But I think this is an area where you can at least guess a little bit. Returners. Where's your mind at with returners right now, Austin? Punt and kick return.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that this might be an area with so many receivers coming in. This might be an area where we see Bryce Kane kind of find a niche role for himself. He is the one that has stayed from the freeze, however many you want to call it, campaign. And so Bryce is here, and he's a speedier, shorter guy. And punt returner may be his spot where he can really get on the field and make a difference regularly. And then also at kickoff with him, Rashawn Pleasant, also obviously we all remember a year ago against Baylor, had a pretty amazing kick return for a touchdown to kind of introduce himself to the Auburn family. Could we see him back there? Could we see Omar Mabson back there? Could we see maybe one of these other younger running backs that might not get as much time in the rotation back there? Maybe an Alvin Henderson,
that's what I was thinking.
Nakai Davenport, who knows? So I think we have definitely transitioned a lot away from the idea that your special teams players are kind of your guys who are close to getting on the field. But there, I think we find that we get a lot of skill guys and a lot of athletes out there who can just make yourself have the best chance to win at any time. We saw Jarquez Hunter back there a lot. And so we'll see. But I think Rashawn Pleasant probably feels like a safe bet with his experience in it, even last year, and success doing it. Maybe a receiver, maybe a running back too. Do you have anybody else?
No, I think those names that you dropped in there, I was trying to think some of these, younger wide receivers, Brady Marquise. I always forget how to do it. Marquise. Sorry, I've done it like 5,000 different ways there. It depends on who's the fastest out there. Punt returner is probably the area where I wonder, do we see a little bit of rotation if someone doesn't take it? I think it would be incumbent upon Bryce Kane in a world where he's trying to find his place as the one that stayed here, that as he tries to battle for time on the field at receiver, that he could potentially do that. But as you said, Rashawn Pleasant, I think it's like it's a duh at that one. Until proven otherwise, let's just say it was a pleasant surprise last year to see that opening kick or one of the kickoffs. And I'd like to see it again. So if you would like to do that again versus Baylor to start off the year, this time in Atlanta, unfortunately, but that'd pretty sweet there.
Be fine with me.
Be fine with us. So there is your preview for special teams. We have done every single unit at this point, so go check out the other ones. And we have at least got you acquainted with your Auburn.
We didn't talk about holders.
Holders, I'm sorry. We can throw that in there real quick if you'd like to as well. Would you like to throw down a holder, Austin?
Well, I just want to know who you think will start holder.
Well, I guess the question is, does this staff want to do the punter as the holder type of situation,
good question,
or the backup quarterback So Tristan Tia, obviously getting the verbal nod this week, would be the backup there. Or do you give someone like a Lachlan Hewlett who's looking for a role, who is a capable quarterback, can be utilized in some of these surprise situations? My gut would tell me that it's going to be the punter. I feel like that's the trend these days, that Hudson will be out there doing that type of work.
Hudson who?
Hudson Cock is who that will be. Not Hudson Powell, Hudson Cock. All right, before we get myself in any trouble, there's your special team stuff.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
We're going to continue with our 2026 Auburn football season preview, and we're going to do our first half preview as Austin's trying to gather himself from him trying to mess me up on the last segment. We will walk through the first half this week, the second half next week, which will eventually lead us into a prediction show of sorts. So I want to be clear, Austin, I won't necessarily ask you to get a final prediction in here in any of these situations. Okay. But let's talk through the first half of this season. I'll do the rundown, and then we'll break it down. Just for those, I'm surprised the amount of people that don't have this memorized. It's only 12 game, folks. So
I don't.
Should have.
I am still actively looking.
How are you on this show? How are you on this show?
Because you write it out for me in my collab note with you every week.
Baylor, Southern Miss, Florida, Vandy, which is homecoming, Tennessee, bye week, UGA. That is your first 6 games, including a bye week. So let's talk about it. Austin, the main thing people are going to mention here is it's not in Auburn. Baylor and Auburn, the return trip is not in Auburn. We've talked about it ad nauseum. It's going to be the main thing in the comment section here is like, they sold out all this stuff. Have you made peace with it at this point, or where are you at on the matchup not happening?
I've made peace with it. We've talked about this a lot on the show, that there's a lot of connections between Auburn and Baylor with me, with you. It was a big deal in my family for me to get to go last year, or me and Emily to get to go out to Waco last year and see that game. So it's, I've made peace with it just because it's, August 16th, it's time to move on. But there's nothing you can say about it. Still, it doesn't stink. However, I think that, it's based on how tickets seem to have gone. I think there's going to be a lot of Auburn fans in Mercedes-Benz, as there should be. And it still should be a very home crowd environment for Auburn. Look, at the end of the day, that the day and age we're in with NIL, it's hard to turn down free money. And so I understand it to an extent, and I appreciate the lengths that the administration and the city has gone to kind of recoup that weekend.
Yep.
I still think that we're all going to miss being in Jordan here, though, when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, you've already said the disappointment for me is twofold. Is there are family connections there that I was excited to show and share off Auburn for, and I think that's where a lot of the disappointment comes from.
Yes.
And outside of the business things for the town, the city, university, all that kind of stuff for hosting a major college football weekend as well. But listen, I've got some brothers who went there, and I kind of want to, make them see that they chose wrong, in the grand scheme of all of this. But it's easy for me to go to the Baylor game. I had a second point there, and it escaped me, and it was a brilliant one, but I don't know what it was at this point. But anyway, so that's the main thing there for that. But outside of that, Dave Aranda is on the hot seat at Baylor.
Definitely.
He is going to be probably really needing this one. So I wonder, is there any concern for Auburn at this point, and how much so do you think?
Well, I think Dave Aranda certainly needs it. The big name for them is DJ Lagway. They brought in from Florida to be their quarterback. He's a quarterback that's had a lot of ups and downs in his career and is looking for a new home that maybe can get his career back on track. And then you look at, there's also the connection with Bryson Washington, who's now at Auburn as the running back that did pretty well against Auburn last year in Waco. And so there should be concern, a healthy level of concern on both sides, because Auburn's also walking in with a ton of new players, a new coaching staff, and all sorts of things. But I think they can take something from, hey, we won this game last year. As poor as maybe you thought last year went, Auburn went into Waco and won this game. Will there be, changes, reactions, different adjustments made from the Baylor staff? It's all going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it will be. And I know that this one's going to mean a lot to both sides, but obviously I think there's a little bit more pressure on Baylor in this one than there is Auburn. Although people would say if Auburn can't get this one, the rest of the season's going to look pretty dicey. So there's something on the table for both. It'll make for a decent matchup, even when a time where both programs are kind of not where they were when they first decided to schedule this particular matchup. Brings us to game 2, kickoff on the Plains. The very first time that you will see Auburn in the confines of Jordan-Hare Stadium under the leadership of head coach Alex Golesh. It will be a night game. It will be glorious. It will be awesome. I hope, as Coach Chiswick, advised Coach Golesh, take it all in, because what we get to experience as fans is awesome, but being down there in the field rolling in is pretty cool for your first time. I will say this again, folks, enjoy it. It's one of the few night games too that you'll get to Jordan-Hare. So it'll be fun, especially in the heat of September, to take on a team we probably should beat in Southern Miss. I don't really see a lot of fear at this point for that one. It should be a take care of business situation, at least where we currently sit, right?
Should be, yeah. A year ago, the Southern Miss game looked maybe a little more daunting, but they're on the new coaching staff. They're on now as well. It'll be, like you said, kickoff on the Plains. I think officially confirmed this week for 6:45.
Yep.
So the later of the 6 o'clock kickoff window, but a lot of fun. It's going to be, if you think 6:45, it still won't be hot. I got news for you. But it's going to be a long day of excitement and celebration on the Plains of finally getting a home game and back to seeing what this team looks like inside Jordan-Hare Stadium for the first time against this isn't they're a group of 5 opponent, but this is no Division II FCS, so it's a different opponent that I don't think we've seen in a few years.
Yeah, it feels like back in the day we used to play them a little bit more, but a regional team that certainly has a little bit more interest. Hopefully they travel well for this one.
Sure, yeah.
And hopefully we see a good contingency of Southern Miss fans, and hopefully we represent ourselves well and show them good hospitality for visiting the Plains game outside of what happens to them in the game. Speaking of hospitality and rivalries and ferocity, boy, oh boy, the game of the year, in my opinion, for a lot of different reasons, Auburn and Florida. I have talked ad nauseum in a variety of places about how I have just been lamenting about how disgusting it is that Auburn and Florida don't get to play more than X amount of years at one place and then have to wait X amount of years to do another. We're now in an SEC schedule where we'll get to see Florida every other year, and every other year after that, for come back to the place where you started with that. It just makes sense. We had to sacrifice other games to get this back, but Auburn and Florida, traditional rivals, are back together on a regular basis, and this is good. With the big storyline, Austin, John Summerall.
Correct.
Supposedly the heir apparent, maybe not. And so he's going to come to Auburn as the Florida Gators head coach. Is it really simply that, like the rivalry story, and is this the make or break for both of these coaches this early in the season?
It's definitely the first audition, right, that everybody really is going to care about. It's kind of like you said, the offseason swirled around the both of them and who was the hotter American conference athletic conference head coach to hire. Auburn ends up with Alex Golesh, Florida ends up with John Sumrall. And so it, as soon as the schedule came out, there was the first flavor of Auburn, Florida back. Finally, yes, it took too long, all the things. And then it's Alex Golesh versus John Sumrall. So a lot will be talked about that. We think we've talked about it ad nauseum now. That week will be just almost painful to hear all the storylines hashed over and over and over. I'll go ahead and call it now. There will be some college game day segment on Auburn, Florida, and then thrown in the Sumrall and Golesh. But that should tell you how important this game is to both fan bases and the legacy of the Southeastern Conference and everything. It's an absolute crying shame that it took too long for Florida to come back to Jordan-Hare. And this will be the one, another night game. This will be the one people are absolutely stoked for this season.
And I'm going to make a prediction for this Auburn-Florida matchup, okay? Not a game prediction. We're not there yet, but like just what's going to happen around this weekend. You and I said that this was the prime choice if Auburn was going to get one for College game day. There's a certain other thing happening. They're not going.
It ain't happening.
So SEC Nation sometimes will go to those same locations, and they might for that one. My prediction is that SEC Nation, if they are doing this right, will come to the return of Auburn and Florida with these storylines all there. And boy, will that be a popping off SEC. I would argue that it would get about as close as an SEC Nation audience could, live audience could, to College game day, if they will show up for that. So that's my prediction. I'll throw out there. I know it's not a guarantee, but I'm just going to say there's going to be a lot of hype around this. And I think SEC Nation would do well to make it to that particular matchup. More on that later.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents on average 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Homecoming. Vanderbilt, we called it. When we saw the schedule announced, we knew it was going to be Vanderbilt. It's always the third or fourth weekend of every year, and it never should be. It should always be in October. Okay, we've talked about it all the time. But, if you're going to traditionally pick an SEC team to play for homecoming, it's Vanderbilt. Thank goodness Diego Pavia wasn't given a fifth year, and that Auburn is looking for a little bit of revenge here for what has been happening with Auburn and Vanderbilt over the last 2 years. So I think this is one of those years, Austin, where homecoming, outside of what we love to talk about here, will mean just a little bit more of riding the situation with Vanderbilt, and that happened, kind of adding to that afternoon game that it's going to be. Not a morning game, but an afternoon game. So it probably will be still a little bit warm. That's where I'm at on this, Austin. Love all for the parade, the homecoming court, all that stuff, the floats. Going to be excited about it. But this will be fun to have Vanderbilt and be able to right that ship. Or
it will be fun,
so to speak, I guess.
There you go. It will be fun. And it's one Auburn, I think, needs. I think if you look at the schedule as a whole, that's one that a lot of Auburn fans would like to get because it signals, there's a lot of questions on what Vanderbilt will be now after the Pavia era. He certainly gave them a floor to move up after what they've been for so long, and kind of put Clark Lee in a higher viewed place than Vanderbilt coaches have been in the past. So what do they look like in 2026? We'll have 3 games to know by then, and what will Auburn look like, and how is that kind of Auburn Vanderbilt series determined in a new era for Vanderbilt at the quarterback position, but in Auburn in a new coaching era. So like you said, homecoming, lots of festivities. Hopefully it's a beautiful day. And as we enter October, hopefully it's just a little preview of that and not more of like what's in September. But it'll be a good one, a homecoming one that always is. And you can count on it being a good time and a video that'll make Kyle cry.
You had to say it. You had to say it. Yes. Listen, War Eagle Productions, or Auburn Creative, I guess as we should call them, as a collective now because they all work together so beautifully, has a knack for making Kyle get a little misty, like with not miffed, misty with the homecoming videos. I have one that I downloaded and saved on my computer, and I watched just when I needed a good cry or something like that. And it was during the Harsin era too, so you really cried when you saw that one. I literally watched that when I said I needed this one, man. I needed this video right now. But anyway, all right. So there's Auburn homecoming, Auburn Vanderbilt, Auburn Tennessee. Another traditional rival returns for Auburn, at least the historical one. Again, very similar with Florida. Hasn't been played as much as it should have been. But this one's in Neyland Stadium. This is one of those opportunities for Auburn fans, another rare one this schedule, for them to potentially get a night game. Not at Jordan-Hare, but at Tennessee. And it's going to be the first weekend in October. It's going to feel real good out there, I'm sure, at this point with the weather, especially up there, up in the mountains of Knoxville.
Especially in Knoxville. Yep.
Listen, I think, and then we got the storyline of Coach Golesh was a coach with Josh Heupel during probably their most successful time that he's currently had at Tennessee. So there's that added storyline too here. So Austin, I think this on the schedule is the game that is obviously a good matchup for a lot of reasons, but it probably gets forgotten about because of the return of Florida, because of the return of LSU in the Tiger Bowl we'll talk about later, and Alabama and Georgia. But I hope people don't sleep on Auburn and Tennessee. It's going to be a fun matchup, hopefully at night.
It's going to be very fun. It's for Auburn's first true road game, especially too. And so, the return of this one had me excited almost to the level of Florida. Just because of how few we've gotten this game in recent memory. And even, as a child, it just feels like I watched Auburn, Florida happen more frequently. I don't think that's the case, but I just felt like it happened more frequently than Auburn, Tennessee. But there's been a large history of big, important games between Auburn and the Volunteers. And so a chance to go up to Neyland. This is one I desperately wanted to go to really, really bad when the schedule came out. It's just not going to work out this year. I have trust in knowing that in a few years I can still go if the SEC keeps the right thing the way they have it, the right way. But I think you're going to see a huge Auburn contingent for the nostalgia effect, for just it hasn't happened in so long. Feels very similar to 2019 when Auburn went back to Gainesville for the first time in many years. That feels like this. I think you're going to see a large Auburn contingent head up there, take it all in, and hopefully see Auburn get a big road win.
I would agree, because I was already starting to think about it that way myself. I know you said you couldn't go, and I was trying to make it work, but then I remembered, baby girl's birthday is the day before we're having a birthday party. So definitely not going, even though it's just, I did jokingly make the point to Jessica, Knoxville's not the furthest away from here, so I could have that party and go, but no, obviously she's way more important than even the return of Auburn and Tennessee playing. But listen, it's going to be a good matchup in terms of the stories around it. We'll have a good idea of where those two programs are at that point. Auburn's first true road game, lots to be excited about. Which brings us to the final point of this first half preview. After a bye week, Auburn still on the road, this time in Athens, Georgia. Feels like this is always the bookend to the first half of the season these days. And listen, we all prefer Georgia to be at the end of the year and then flip flop who's home and away, Georgia and Alabama. But if they've got to be home and away in the same year, at least it's like the first half, the end of the first half, and that at least kind of makes sense. We can make peace with that a little bit. It's not been good for Auburn versus Georgia over the last couple of years. Not had a ton of success in Athens. Austin, make me feel better about it.
What a tall task. Yeah, I mean, I think that based on everything we know about this team so far in the preseason, offseason camp, and how this team has been established and beaten into on how to operate, I don't think you're going to see this team scared to go into Athens. I don't think you're going to see them, beat before they get off the bus. I think they'll be excited, but obviously it's Georgia. And they've been on a dominant run here over the last few years. If I'm remembering right, it's 2005, right? The last time Auburn beat Georgia in Athens, 21 years.
Feels probably right at this point.
Can't think of another one. And so, I mean, that is a very long streak.
That would be the fumble into the end zone Aroma should do, picked up by not Jarris McIntyre. That was after his time.
Nope.
Anthony Mix, maybe. Was it Anthony
Yes,
Mix?
that sounds right.
Okay.
That's about what I can think of. And with LSU, without doing any other research, with LSU monkey off the back, it might be the longest streak Auburn has. Not one in a certain place. There might be one that's, they haven't played as often.
Sure.
That I'm not thinking of. But so it's a tall task. And it's one that Auburn will get 2 weeks to prepare for, which is great news. But a Saturday, what have we set? What time is that game going to be?
That one is going to be an afternoon kickoff. So we're looking for, it'll probably be a beautiful, if it's weather cooperates in terms of rain and stuff, could be a beautiful mid-October day in Athens. The matchup
peak
is what it
football.
is. Peak college football history, all that. That's something you want to go to, even if you don't think Auburn's going to stand a chance, which there's, to be honest, if we're just going off what we think we know, there's not a ton of that right now to I want to say believe in Auburn, but it's a new year. You don't know what to expect at this point. It's Georgia. They're established more. So I would sell it to you that way. It's history. It's a great matchup historically. It's going to be hopefully great weather. Go support them in Athens if you can, and make sure that you look weirdly at grown men barking like dogs. I do every time. It is
take an umbrella in case you get spit on. So.
It happens a lot. It's very odd. I question the sanity of everything in that county over there. And by the way, as a fun fact, I think you passed a city called Auburn, Georgia on the way to Athens, which is,
there you go.
I don't know, a quick plug for them or something
like
that.
A little reprieve before you enter the town.
There you go. All right, listen, that's it. We made it in reasonable time with all of that stuff we covered this evening on episode 185. And we appreciate you guys being here live on the replay, however you listen to this, through the YouTube or video portions or the normal podcast way. As always, we want to give you ways to get in contact with us. For me, you can do so through e2cnetwork@gmail.com or the direct messages at all of our social media. Austin, where can they find you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott on Instagram and is the best place. And I've got two boys who we're sharing a lot of videos of who just can't stop singing Auburn University marching band songs. So if you're not ready for the season somehow with just under a month to go, I got a way to get you ready. So come see it.
Listen, I'm expecting big things out of the two of them when I see you guys at that very first band practice for the Southern Miss game. If they don't have the routine down, I'm going to be disappointed, sir.
Man, we got stumbled on a little God wink tonight by walking around campus during convocation, and we heard that band, and it was like two Dobermans. Is that the band?
Is that the band?
We found the drum line right outside the student section gates, and so they are. If there was a higher level of readiness, we haven't hit it yet.
I think, Austin, I'm just going to make a quick prediction. You have maybe some drum sets in your future. You may have some Auburn drum majors, drum line, whatever, band members coming up very soon here.
We did not predict that duo on our on that first episode.
I'll take it, though.
But I'll take it. I will definitely take it.
That's a good one, Have. If you got to have something Auburn, at least it's the Auburn band. And, man, what a history that would be. And how cool, if we predicted that down the line or something.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. All right. We're heading out, guys. Thanks for being here. Until we talk to you again, we'll remind you the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. We're going to ask you to do the same thing. War Eagle.
War Eagle.